Hi, Ailbhe. Thanks for making time in between your concerts today. Oh my gosh, to do Popper 15. You're in your beautiful concert outfit.
Well, thank you. All ready to go, just so I can walk straight on stage after we do this. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Like yourself, I mean, it's all go, go, go. How
It
about you?
is,
How
it
was your week?
is. It was good, hustling
Good.
away as usual. At least this will be a good little
Got
warm
hustling.
up, right? For your,
Yeah, my concert will seem very easy after that. Do you know, we actually, in case you're ever looking for a cello and violin duo piece that's a bit flashy,
Mhm.
we played one of my new pieces that I wrote about a year or two ago for a festival.
Oh my
And
God.
it's cool because we did it at a live stream last night, and they did awesome camera work from the National Concert Hall. It's a cheesy tango with a bit of an edge, so you know how I love
Ooh.
writing tangos. I can't help myself. But yeah, so that was super fun. It's nice to actually have a nice recording of it rather than going, oh, I wonder what people think of my piece while I'm playing and then messing up. So,
Um,
big news for you this Sunday with your fabulous festival
that's
fundraiser, right?
right. Yes,
Very
yeah.
exciting.
The
Do you want to tell
digital
me what's going on?
launch.
Digital launch?
Yeah, well, it's all the things. It's a fundraising event. It's an introduction to all the artists. No, it's gonna
Nice.
be super. So,
Popper 15.
yeah. Where do we start with this one?
This one has so many things in it, doesn't it?
It
It's
really
not
does.
as clear cut. I mean, you've got everything from really needing to know the shape of your left hand at every moment in the piece, and it changes quite a lot between even the very opening. So that interval, shifting down to a major third from a minor third, then shifting down,
Hmm.
minor third again, major third. So just even remembering small big,
Yeah,
and even
yeah,
that on a
exactly.
return, it's that's a brain melt. And there are a lot of those areas within this piece, keeping you on your toes.
We find this so much in Popper. You really need to think of the hand position for the whole bar.
Yeah,
And I found in this one, even with recognizing those shape differences and practicing them, I really had to practice like those. I practiced the thumb to two third with like on the D string, so I'd go like that third.
yeah,
But you know what was an interesting thing in this that totally you might not be apparent at first, but I think it's a really, really great study for or not intonation, for articulation.
mm, yeah,
There's so many really, really specific markings in this,
yeah,
and like one of the big things I thought, well, this would be great prep to like get somebody in the like right mindset for an orchestra audition or something.
yeah.
But like all of these accents that you see on the second beats of the bar, it's so tempting to do a whammy on the first beat and not the second beat, and you have to do the
I
opposite in
know,
this one, and it
and
changes
because
slightly throughout
yeah,
too.
this is it, and because it's marked 40, of course you want to do, and you really can't. It's just trying to actually always make sure that you're not putting any extraneous accents, that's not even a word, accents on the downbeat. And this is in Mozart and Beethoven and everything else, it's a crime against humanity to constantly put an accent. It's what we're taught when we're children, and then we have to remove them all as we're adults.
I know, I
um,
know.
so that's good practice for this, because it doesn't flow if you put accents on the first beats, even where we don't have the accents on the second beats. And also to get a scherzando sound. At the
Yes.
beginning, I definitely noticed that mine was quite heavy when I started,
Mm-hmm.
and you do have to constantly think back to that feel um, the whole way through. No matter, it's easy in places like from there, because it lends itself to that in the music. But when you're in somewhere like probably less scherzando feel there,
Yeah, a little bit different character, I would say, for sure. I mean,
Popper didn't let
fortissimo
it in, but-
scherzando
Yeah, exactly.
is,
Aha!
yeah. Actually, that sounds great.
Okay, maybe I should do that. We'll see if
It's
it
like our
works.
laughter at the moment.
Yeah,
Doing
so
Popper
maybe-
on a concert day.
I mean, I will be thinking of that when we're getting there. What I also thought was quite funny and slightly evil of Popper was, say, for example, in bar 17. I mean, in 16 we have that hilarious shift. So we've got. So I practice that with the link note of an A. Is that the same way you approach it?
Yeah, I guess a bit. I really, the way I practiced that was breaking it down with the thumb. So thinking about the fact that the thumb will replace, will go a whole tone or whole step above where the third finger was.
Oh, interesting.
So I am practicing with that link, but I really, really focus on the thumb, where the thumb is going, and that's sort of
That
leading
is
me to the right
fascinating.
position. Yeah.
I did not approach it that way at all. I literally just practiced. And then arriving on that B with enough weight for it to actually be balanced, that your hand is not one of these other lovely moments where that happens. But after this, I thought it was really funny. So here, you really have to just know what your minor third interval is. In order to have that harmonic speak, you have to stay for longer than you think, right?
Yes.
And then here, what was he doing with this bow? Just for the crack. And then here, rather than a minor third, it's a major third. Like, it's so evil.
I know. It's
There's
a
just
great
too many
one.
things to think about.
It's a great one too because he does so much with that slurring thing. So like the part you just talked about with the extra bow, there's like every variation of possible bowing you could do 6/8 quavers in, and he throws them in there like that. So
And what's great about that is sometimes in the rep you do have to just throw in an extra tiny little down bow to get yourself to the right down bow fortissimo feel for that long note. So
yeah.
It is something that you do use, and especially if you're sight reading on a gig and you find yourself in the wrong bow, this is a useful skill to be able to use.
Yeah.
Whenever.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I like it.
What else?
Definitely for the bow stroke, I definitely thought having a little bit of a firmer bow hand for all of these, just for clarity in those, any of those. And even thinking, and then suddenly slur. And the sound that you want to achieve when you're there. Scherzando. Do you really have a legato connection in the slur? I am doing one of those off the string slurs.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Good to make
It's
these
very-
decisions.
It's very much like, that's what I mean about, like, it reminds me so much of preparing for an orchestral audition or orchestral playing. Not, and it's, of course it's true in everything we play, like paying really careful attention to what's marked. But I feel like if they were to set this first line of the popper for some sort of audition, which would be like super, super evil. But if they did,
What a
you could
good
tell.
idea.
Yes, you could tell so much about the player. I mean, obviously, everyone would immediately go to intonation and making sure like everything's super clean in the left hand. But it's also that whole thing of, you know, being comfortable enough with that you can focus on these other things. You know, you can't devote, when we perform, you have to, or even when you're learning something, you know, like you have to be able to devote a certain amount of your mental energy to other aspects of playing. It's always this juggling act, isn't it?
Yeah, and always coming back to what we talk about incessantly, which is after you have gone internally into all these little things, then have you gone back to see, does this have a scherzando feel do you really have the sense of lightness and flow and bouncing and bounding that you want to have eventually? And if you don't eventually think longer lines and, you know, when you've a couple of weeks to focus on this as opposed to 1 week, then 1 week filled with concerts, you know, then that's the thing that you need to remember. And you might find that a lot of the technical aspects get there much faster when you inject your musicality back into it.
Amen.
Yeah. Maybe
Preach
start
it.
with musicality. Preach.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. These double stops at the end, let's talk about those. I mean, total killer because of all the fourths and fifths, I mean, which are perfect intervals,
Hilarious.
so they're like insanely difficult to tune. I do really like this part. It's so horn call, you know, like it reminds me
It's
of
very horn call.
Schubert Lieder or something.
I'm laughing at this here because, do you know, I can't believe it. I should have. Now, if I had more time, I would have looked at this that one.
Oh, yes.
Version for the fingerings, because I thought the one in the Barn Writer was a bit dubious, personally.
With that shifty job?
Two shifts, it's just too many for me.
Yeah.
No. Actually, I mean the shift.
That thing?
Yeah. 3 in a row, like I would never do it, would you?
No, I would never do it, but I did practice it that way. I mean, when I read it through, I stayed in the 1-3 on that first third after the fifth. I did that. But I thought, oh, well, it's a good opportunity for me to try something that you never know. But yeah, it's especially find on the second one, because I'm already a little like mentally exhausted from the 4 bars and double stops. The second one tends to be, it tends to be less consistent. But what I did find in that, and again, you know, like we all have our different solutions, is I decided there to really break the scherzando character and go for a completely different color. But really in the story, and finding that connection in the bow to sort of launch that motion up. If it makes sense.
I think that's a great idea, and I also just think musically it lends itself to it. There are no staccatos marked on this anyway, and because it's suddenly turning into that broad horn call, you have to imagine yourself actually hearing, you know, the arrival of the royals, and you just would never hear ba, 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 ba. It's never that sound. So
yes,
I think let's go with our gut on that one. I did find it really funny again, a couple of awkward moments, like in 1-1-1. That if you just did the same bar, it would have been very, very easy. But there's always one tiny little change in the pattern, and then trying to actually get piano, or even from the next 2 piano bars, getting back down to your 4th position, it's just a tiny bit awkward. You have to really be thinking ahead, or else, you know, there'll be time lapses and all that kind of stuff.
When you get to those 2 bars, when you get to 110. I sort of am like, okay, it's a bit of a breather because we're in our, you know, normal thumb position on the but it's still like a lot trickier than you think for the coordination with all those string crossings. And I just noticed this about like 40 minutes ago, but bar 111, you can actually keep your second finger down the whole time on the G string if you want.
Oh, that's good. Interesting. Definitely not going to manage that for the playthrough.
Well, that was the one. That was the one that threw me up. Again, it's like this thing of like how much your brain can handle. You usually can power through a few bars, mine can, and then it's like, no, I've reached my limit of like saturation capacity, and then I have to find little tricks like that.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just so many, even at the end, the presto, I actually again changed the fingering just before the presto. Here to 3-2, because I found 1-4, 3-2 is a beautiful legato shift. Why wouldn't I do that? And I've just looked at the international edition here, and they do say to do that. All right.
Ooh, I'm gonna write that in. I might attempt it.
I thought I was being very unique and individual, but apparently not. So, and then at the very end, this here, timing that to get yourself up, move.
Oh,
So once you're there, that's interesting.
I did it on the D and the G string.
Like it says to do in the part.
Well, maybe it doesn't say that in the international. You never know. I think you could do either fingering. I think they're both completely acceptable. I mean, they have different challenges. Like, obviously, depending on your hand shape and stuff, this might be a little bit more uncomfortable here. And the shift is... That shift is hard, but as well, this shift is a lot harder than you think, just because there's that much more resistance. You know, it's a big shift.
And the sound that you create up there, because suddenly you've gone from open strings to this really high. I think that's probably why I find this one. At least I know what the sound is going to sound like there.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see in the playthroughs how successful that is.
Yeah, I mean, and those last two bars, like, when I first tried these with that pizzicato on the left hand, I was at first like, no, my hand can't do that. But then I practiced. I was like, get over yourself, Katie, and like try to do it. And it's really hard, but like I think with practice, you know, even if you feel at first like there's no way I can do that, it's a tremendous amount of strength. And it's a lot about hand balance. So it's like, for me, hitting that chord. Actually, the first thing that would always happen is my bow would get all messed up by the weird motion I was doing. So realizing your bow doesn't need to change anything. It's your left hand there. So changing that balance without going all haywire over here. It's really tricky.
So I also played around with the idea of never putting the thumb down here. So like my thumb is not down at all. So I never have to rebalance. And I'm also using, I don't know if you can see, but that, you know, the sneaky nail trick, so I don't have to actually press down. And I often find I'm a tiny bit sharp as well when it goes to the open G string.
Yeah, because what can you do? You're playing,
well,
you know, 2 octaves apart, right?
But
I mean,
yeah, but when we get there, we have to be flatter in order for the last G to work with it, right?
But it's... I guess it's a compromise. I mean, it's because you also want to be in tune from this to when you're going up, don't you? If that's a little flat, that sounds really nasty.
It does. So somewhere just on the edge of sitting under, then somehow you're going to be at the end. It's a weird. It's like one of those string quartet compromises you have to make where you're like, oh no, but yes.
Yeah, like I'm playing an F drone. It's always F major. I don't know why.
or the open C strings.
I was just playing. Have you played before a piano quartet?
Oh,
ever?
No, I don't.
The C minor one. It's an amazing piece of music, and I'm playing it in a few weeks' time. And I was just
nice.
Listening to a recording, doing a very cheeky thing of just listening to a recording, kind of playing through with it. And there's this cathartic moment at the end of the third movement where you just hold a C, open C string, and do these like massive crescendos, and it's like the best feeling ever. But then I was thinking about, oh yeah, in reality, I'm gonna be like, oh wait, can I go louder without this safety thing?
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Organising again, there's a lot here, isn't there? I did my same shift there. Link note to a major, so it's a slightly extended 1-3. Then closed one. Link note. That's how I organized it. But
love it. I love it. I'm gonna have to do more of this link note stuff the way you do. Again, I'm like all about the thumb here. I find those extended those like major thirds basically will always be uncomfortable for me because what I do is I think about where my thumb is going. So if I would be in an extended you know,
Oh,
thumb,
yeah.
whatever thing there, my thumb would be on a C. So I think of that. And then it'd be on an A, then a G. If that makes sense. So I'm really
Yeah, yeah.
shifting with both of those, but
Oh, I
thinking
like it.
more about where the thumb is anchored. Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably do more of that kind of practice. So if we both meet in the middle, we'll have the perfect solution to every problem.
We'll have the perfect technique. We'll have the perfect everything.
Yeah, exactly. This is what this is all about, right? Cool. Do you think we should give it a go?
Nice one. Let's give it a go.
Yay! Woo! Yippee! Super! That was
Woo! Round of applause! Yay!
Great.
Oh, oh,
Really, really
thanks. Woo, it's
Nice.
tiring that. Great to see you. So we'll see you next week for Popper
Popper
4 with Tim
4.
Gill.
How exciting. I cannot
I
wait to do that.
know.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Go us! Yay! Cello power!
Yay! Woohoo! See ya.